Welcome to another episode of the News Roundup. On today's show, we're going to talk about Facebook, now rebranded as Meta, which is moving to increase its fact-checking, which of course means increasing their censorship of users on their platform. And, just as importantly, while publicly espousing the principles of being nonpartisan, far too often, the fact-checkers themselves have glaring conflicts of interest, which in of itself is a serious problem. And so we're going to discuss what is going on here. And so from Trial Site News, I am Adrian, and our episode starts now. So, Meta claims it wants to fact-check content on its social media platforms to effectively and safely combat rampant misinformation, especially as it pertains to COVID-19 and health-related issues. The algorithm on its social network detects related videos and posts with health claims and directs users to their delegated COVID-19 information center. The Facebook, or rather Meta-endorsed Coronavirus Information Hub, works closely with the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and National Ministries of Health, according to their website. Topics like alternative treatments, vaccine hesitancy, and vaccine effectiveness are frequent targets in terms of health content that Facebook wants to monitor in its quest to reduce, quote, misinformation. Now, despite the company's publicly stated principle of nonpartisanship, their key partners have glaring conflicts of interest with international conglomerate news companies, vaccine investors, and now Pfizer, which holds the top spot for COVID-19 vaccine doses administered here in the US. Now, Meta, the social media tech giant and parent company of Facebook, says it aims to fight the spread of misinformation and provide people with more reliable information through their journalistic media partners. Facebook claims their partners are independent third-party fact-checkers that are certified through the Nonpartisan International Fact-Checking Network, or the IFCN. This program has expanded to more than 100 organizations working with 60 languages around the world. Now, Facebook on their website said that since we do not believe that a private company like Facebook should be the arbiters of truth, we rely on fact-checkers to identify, review, and rate potential misinformation across Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Their work enables us to take action and reduce the spread of problematic content through our apps. Now, these actions include placing warning flags on videos they deem harmful, demonetizing or removing videos, and removing posts or even accounts altogether. Facebook will even ask its users if they are sure they want to be friends with another user who has posted controversial information in the past. I suppose it's a good thing to know that we have Facebook out front and center protecting its users from controversial people, right? However, in the past few months, several events and uncovered details reveal a pattern of doubt that the fact-checkers whom Facebook uses are truly independent third parties and instead are inappropriately linked to the pharmaceutical industry, several corporate media outlets, and highly influential members and supporters of the Democratic Party. Now, we thought it might be worthwhile to list some of these circumstances and interesting web of connections that we view as important to consider when deliberating what sources of information are trustworthy here in the age of viral content and the raging debate over what is misinformation. So first, let's take a look at the International Center for Journalists. The ICFJ is a global network of journalists who is partnering with Meta on Meta's journalism project. Their website states that they serve the community by training, mentoring, fellowships, and financial support in investigative journalism, critical issues reporting, media innovation, and business sustainability, as well as through cutting-edge research and resources. Now, as the time of filming for this episode, under their financial transparency page, their 2021 fiscal year information is not present, nor does their fiscal information for 2020 include a section for friends and supporters. But there is one for 2019. And in 2019, listed in the Foundation section are John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, Bloomberg Philanthropies, and the Scripps Howard Foundation, among others. And this also includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which is listed second in order of support, which is a notable conflict of interest since the Gates Foundation has donated millions of dollars to Moderna for the advancement of mRNA technology for HIV and COVID-19 vaccines, among others. Additionally, the ICFJ is a lead sponsor for the Tsinghua School of Journalism and Communication, which so happens to train journalists to work for the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party-run media outlets, and is partnered with Bloomberg News. In the dean's welcome letter, he introduced the program and its values by stating that, firstly, we should be committed to a firm and correct political orientation. Our school has been actively exploring the theory and practices of Marxist journalism, namely to applying the Marxist theory in observing the world, selecting, and handling news production. Now, just as interesting, the financial backing for ICFJ comes from a company called the Open Society Foundations, or the OSF. George Soros is the founder and chair. According to the Open Society Foundation's website, Soros has given away more than $32 billion of his own personal fortune to fund their projects worldwide. Meanwhile, the Meta Journalism Project lists several national and international journalism organizations and media organizations as its partners. Poynter is one of many. On their website, they mention a collaborative project called FactCheck. It unites U.S. fact-checking organizations with two major Spanish-language news broadcasters, namely Telemundo and Univision. These Spanish news networks translate and distribute fact-checking articles from Check Your Fact, FactCheck.org, Lead Stories, MediaWise, PolitiFact, The Dispatch, The Washington Post, FactChecker, Science Feedback, and USA Today. Another media organization of note is one of the largest news agencies in the world, Reuters. James C. Smith was president, CEO, and director of Thomson Reuters Corporation until 2020, and was a Pfizer director since 2014. He now serves as chairman of the Thomson Reuters Foundation, and it just so happens he also is a chair of Pfizer's Compensation Committee and a member of their Audit Committee, according to Pfizer's website. Smith also serves on the board of the World Economic Forum's Partnering Against Corruption initiative. Most notably, Facebook's ubiquitous messaging of serving its community by presenting unbiased facts and discrediting COVID-19 misinformation misaligns when it comes to lawsuits, in which CEO Mark Zuckerberg prefers the term opinions instead. As a defendant in a defamation lawsuit, for example, against plaintiff John Stossel, Zuckerberg's defense argument was to absolve the company of wrongdoing because their fact-checker statements are just opinions, and therefore are not subject to defamation lawsuits. But news outlets are not exempt, as they are operating as entities who are obligated to share only facts. Facebook straddles the line between news, source, and social opinions. Therefore, in legal terms, unlike a news outlet who would have to prove their claims are truthful when attacking someone's character, there is no legal obligation to confirm opinions. So basically, Zuckerberg and Facebook can publish opinions as news. Now, here is an example of the compromised fact-checking practices of Facebook's Science Feedback. In February 2021, Science Feedback placed a verdict of incorrect on a claim made by the New York Post. The New York Post claimed that evidence points to SARS-CoV-2 research being carried out at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The Science Feedback fact-check article references a few experts in epidemiology and virology who refute the New York Post claim. The fact-checking article said that overall, this claim is based on unsupported speculations and scientific inaccuracies. In spite of this, it continues to be perpetuated in many outlets, and public officials have real-world repercussions. Peter Daszak, epidemiologist and president of the EcoHealth Alliance, who has collaborated with the WIV researchers, warned during an interview with the journal Science, saying that these rumors and conspiracy theories have real consequences, including threats of violence that have occurred to our colleagues in China. Now, Daszak's involvement with the Wuhan Institute of Virology compromises his credibility right out the gate. And then, almost unbelievably in the same fact-checking article, the author cites themselves as another source, saying that, to provide context, from my opinion, I will disclose that I am a scientist trained to work in high containment and have collaborative projects with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, or the WIV. I have worked in this exact laboratory at various times for the past 2 years. I can personally attest to the strict control and containment measures implemented while working there. The staff at WIV are incredibly competent, hardworking, and are excellent scientists with superb track records. Now this is just incredible. Why would anyone who previously worked in this exact laboratory be qualified to scrutinize claims made against the institution? What is happening here? So final thoughts. These findings are only a partial view of the conflicts of interest that are rampant between government health operations, private sectors, and even nonprofits. These problematic relationships have eroded public trust in hospital systems, government health officials, political leaders, news media, big pharma, and big tech. In addition to fact-checking third parties, news media outlets receive advertising support from big pharma directly. Regulatory agencies like the FDA also depend on direct fees from big pharma, which account for approximately 45% of their budget. In healthcare, hospitals are advised only to utilize patented big pharma drugs for COVID-19 and are compromised by the U.S. government's Relief Act that provides an extra 20% premium for COVID-19 Medicare patients. With the fact-checkers so closely aligned with the drug makers and healthcare establishment, the question arises, who fact-checks the fact-checkers and who watches the watchers? Food for thought. And that, my friends, brings this episode to a close once more. As always, thank you so much for joining me on the program today. From Trial Site News, I am Adrian, and I will see you all next time.